Welcome back, Terrible Warriors. We've missed you. And stay tuned at the end of this episode for important updates on the future of the show. But first, let's finish what we started. The following is the final episode in our Spire campaign. It was not planned to be our final episode, and perhaps one day in the future, we'll be able to return and see what happens to our ministers of our hidden mistress. But for now, this is all there is. A word of note, this was recorded in February of 2020, before we here in Canada were dealing with lockdowns and social restrictions and the new normal of wearing masks in public. As such, a couple of details in this episode might sound odd to your ears, which have no doubt been tempered by this year we have all shared. In the Spire, the Drow are expected to wear masks to hide their faces and mask their emotions so that the High Elves who control their ancestral tower do not have to be subjected to seeing their emotions displayed so nakedly. In Middle City, the guards will fine anyone for not wearing a mask, and in tonight's episode, our players will organize an illegal assembly defying a citywide lockdown. So this is to say that this episode, of all of our Spire episodes, has aged strangely. I think it's fair to say we can separate the narrative of this game from the reality of our real-life surroundings. Wear your mask, stay safe, follow your region's public health advisories. For now, enjoy a story recorded long before the pandemic shut down our production, and it's been a long time coming. This is the 7th episode in our series, and if you haven't listened to the first 6, I highly recommend you do so before listening to this finale. Don't worry, we'll still be here when you get back. And now, on the Terrible Warriors. The Spire is at a boiling point. The Ministry has laid their plans. The guards, the citizenry, the High Elves, and the Ministry are all standing at the razor's edge. All it takes is for someone to give the city a push and topple it into chaos. All it takes is a symbol. Tonight, the ministers will make their move, and in the Spire, every action faces an equal and sometimes horrible reaction. What's life in your vault like? Why don't you start this? Describe us your home and what's happening to the gnolls and how you feel about it.
Life in the vault it's chaotic at the best of times. Books change places, beverages rearrange themselves, the door doesn't always go to the same place. And that's without 12 gnolls rearranging things all on their own, with their own ideas of creature comforts, home, noise levels.
It's kind of a Snow White situation, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Sleepy, wheezy, nosy, dozy, grumpy, frumpy.
And that's just one of the gnolls.
That's just one. That's just the first one. That's just what they call breadocks in the morning.
Nharus doesn't have the most highly developed social skills to begin with, and that's with Drow, who he can relate to. Gnolls are an entirely other culture. Gnoll warriors, this is foreign to him. He's definitely struggling.
2 of them, though, are going through a book, and they're reading through it, and they're comparing notes, talking a bit about their magic back home and how magic compares to Spire, and they seem to be, when they're not soldiers, academics, researchers of a sort. Comparing, they're talking kind of in whispers about, and they stop when you come by, about the Vermissian way and the madness. Like, what were they thinking? And like, humans, they're crazy. They'll dig themselves up into ancient occult building foundations just to see what happens. Maniacs. And they're marveling at this library that you have, these some of these languages are forgotten and ancient, and some of them may not have ever happened. And they find one on a history of gnolls and Jinn and a book of their heroes. And they're like, how did this end up here?
Well, I think that one was... I left one day and I came back. Someone else had clearly used the room and they seem to have left some new books for me.
They're amazed. So, on the other side, though, we can only stay in the vault for so long. The last time you left Spire was in the arena. You escaped with these gnolls and you took off. You haven't been back to Middle City yet. How do you return?
I want to go back alley for a little bit on my way to meet up with some of my street team, so that I can make a true entrance at the appropriate time.
Where do you need to go?
I need to get down to Taylor's Row, but I think taking the back alleys, I am used to having the pre-show where you prepare everything before you get seen. So the idea of being behind the curtain until it is time is very important.
You like being backstage.
I do like the backstage, yeah.
I know a relatively backstage address that would get us there. It's the alley that we used in previous seasons.
back Donald's alleyway that he came through where the merchant was.
The half address.
And that can be close to, that can be within the fashion district of Middle City. Middle City, as I described in an episode I edited out of existence, is a circular city near the equator, or the middle, the waist of Spires, right there in the center of it. There's as much above as there is below. The Middle City sits above the works, so it's always a little warm, kind of like this core of the planet underneath you, just heating everything up. It sits below Ivory Row and the Silver Quarter and Amaranth and the cathedral and the universities. Middle City is a place where most of the Drow who live here, I imagine, can only afford to live here because they are serving durance or they are working for a benefactor that is subsidizing their rent and their affordability. When your durance runs out, you can't afford 100% of your rent, so maybe you're compelled to take some more extra years of durance, or to take a job where the wages might not be entirely fair, but it allows you to remain living here in this community and with your people, because if you can't afford the rent in Middle City, there's always place in Derelictus, and you just keep finding your way falling further and further down, or you end up somewhere in the South Docks getting into fights with the knights. This is both a place that is safe, but also a gift, and a gift can always be taken away. And that's always the kind of feeling in Middle City, is you keep a smile on your face, you don't rock the boat, because if you lose your job, you lose your home, you lose your family, and you just have to go away. But Middle City is also kept in a reminder of its place, because it sits underneath the Hive prison. And so, as Circular City, I imagine near the edge of the circle, there's lots of windows and skylights and portals that exist to reach the exterior of the tower. And this is where lots of the mega corvids and supplies from the sky whales and zip lines and weird train minecar connections that the retro engineers have built up that help bring things up and down from the upper levels to the lower levels, especially supplies that are raised up into the Silver Quarter and news that is lowered down into Middle City. Workers that commute to serve an Aelfir up Spire, but they live in Middle City, as well as other ropes and ladders that take you to Perch if you have nowhere else to go, and Derelictus is too dangerous. Well, there's always Perch, and you can try living on the outside of the tower, and that's taking your life into the fates, isn't it? Yes, the outside of the city would be where the richest live because they get windows, but also it's closest to Perch, so you're dealing with thieves and bandits. So there's always a bit of a pro and con. The security is in the center of Middle City. And the center of Middle City, as you get closer, it rises like a hill or like a screw top. And the roads spiral around as it brings you up into the central point, which used to be the cathedral, or a cathedral, which has now been turned into the headquarters of the city guard. The city guard used to be scattered in small stations all around Middle City, but were abandoned to be consolidated into a central location that Harvest now operates. And ironically, taking a church and turning it into a headquarters, many of the headquarters that they abandoned were turned into churches, like what our Lejeune was doing. The headquarters connects up and gets thinner and is the one direct route right up the center of Spire into the upper levels. So you would go through the headquarters is also like a customs office or like a border crossing to get you up into Spire. Because this is the place. Everything below you is Lower Spire. Everything above you is Upper Spire. And this is the one place where the two kind of meet and trade. And hanging above Middle City in the center of this area is the prison hive. And it's built in segments like a hive, honeycombs shaped, each of them a cell. None of them need a door because you can leave whenever you want and plummet into the city below you. And sometimes people do, so no one has rooftop patios anymore. But the prison is also quite small. It's hard to construct. The rooms are limited in number. And so prison sentences are quite rare in Spire. Most punishments are dealt in the form of a durance or in a fine, and or a durance in the event that you can't afford the fine. And it helps the economy continue to flow by just throwing more criminals into the workforce and keep things going. And there's always work for a ne'er-do-well in the works. Just throw them down into the factories and hope they don't fall into the algae pools, or maybe you hope they fall into the algae pools. Officially, executions are outlawed in the Constitution of Spire, but there's always loopholes around that as well. Either workplace accidents happen, or someone might be declared legally dead by a mortician, and then morticians will be sent out to correct the record if it finds that you were not actually dead as you have been legally declared, and that has been known to happen. And we know that the Harvest kind of uses that as well. But that paints the picture here of what the Middle City is. Now, the fashion district would be near that secure center. That's where a lot of the businesses are. A lot of people, the living quarters are kind of in this, kind of like a Goldilocks, like the green zone around a planet in a solar system. Like the very edge, you get to perch, and also the rich buildings. The very center, you have businesses and security and a lot of high density. And so then there's like kind of like a Middle City suburbia kind of thing, like Midtown in Middle City, that lives right in the middle of the ring going out. The fashion district is in the center. It's going up that spiral. So is Peto's toy shop, would be found around here. And not far from there is the Lejeune's now abandoned and shuttered church, Dega's church. I just want you to get an idea of what the geography is in my mind. Does that follow? Are you following the same kind of mental picture as me?
All makes sense to me.
Yeah. And when you step out of the alleyway that Donald once came down in our first episode, Middle City's very different in tone than the last time you were here. It's been almost a week, I think, since you left. And since then, you know that the Harvest has been cracking down on assembly laws. But now the light in Middle City is different. Middle City is, like most places in Spire, artificially lit, but is one of the few places in Spire, including as you get further up Spire, you get much more windows and stained glass, and Ivory Row is apparently famous for that, as is up into the Silver Quarter, and certainly New Heaven, which has access to the rooftop. But Middle City does have its own skylights, but like I said, they're more for utilitarian purposes. They're just big holes in the wall that allow for the birds to fly in and out. So there's always these like pockmarked lights that are kind of moving like sundials all around the city, kind of creating this like lattice work of light that crisscross through the light. It's kind of pretty, right? But when you come out, the place is
It's warm. The light is like a firelight. Everything's red and orange, like a deep harvest sunset. And as you step out into the street and you see a shadow being cast underneath you, which is, again, strange in Middle City. It would more only be just like the gas lamps and all that around kind of lit that would cast. And you look up the hill and the corkscrew center and you see the headquarters and that spire that needle point that connects to the hive that then connects up to the upper city. A great, like a lighthouse, has been constructed at the top of the headquarters. This crystal glass thing, like I don't want to say cocoon, but it's a big crystal shaped dome that now sits at the middle point of this building that connects into the cavern ceiling, and it's lit like a lighthouse. There's a big fire raging inside, or that's what you might assume, but the way the crystal is done is it refracts the light out of the city, kind of bathing the entire city in this perpetual firelight. And I'm going for this panopticon look. It's like the Eye of Sauron, and it's this thing going through, and you see posters on the wall with the laws being declared by Harvest, and like a propaganda picture of like wearing, like something about wearing your mask, and you know, we need you to wear your mask, kind of a thing, and something about respect and the way things are. There's some underhanded insult to those who don't wear masks, are criminals and thieves, and yeah, it's very much, and you do see the very few people you do see out in the streets, they're wearing servant masks that they might have still had from when they did their durance, and others are just keeping their faces bound up, and of course no more than two at a time walking, and businesses are closed. Everything's just kind of, you know, there's paper running in the street, but you don't see any, like when I described before, they had the merchant selling the religious knockoff wares from Pilgrim's Row. Even in Middle City, you would get human merchants moving around, especially those who, coming up from Pilgrim's Row, come to see the sights and move around and open up a trade or a coffee shop or a bakery. Everything's just kind of, yeah, it's haunting when you come out, when you step out onto the street. And then Xyrie, when you step out of the alleyway behind Nharus, among those propaganda posters, you see like a notice board with all the decrees, but right in the center, the biggest poster of it all, is wanted for questioning, dead or alive. And it's your face, Xyrie.
Well, I need this poster.
Mm-hmm. They did it's a very good likeness, and it's clearly based on what you were wearing from the arena.
Usually I have people commission much better profile pictures of me. Somebody
500 sten.
I think it's good likeness.
By order of the Harvest, a 500 sten reward for information leading to the arrest of Xyrie.
Nharus, what was your plan? Because I have one coming to my mind right now.
You're going to take the bounty for yourself, right?
Yeah,
I'm here
course.
for 500 sten.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, planning this sort of thing is not exactly my forte. So if you have a better, I'm happy to go with it.
We need to get to the prisoners. They've just invited us. They've just invited us. This poster is our invitation. I can make sure that I am the focus, and we can use our friends to create that distraction while you go and help the prisoners.
while this is the beginning of a good plan, we do still need to know a little more about what's in there, how many guards, what we're dealing with.
Absolutely, but at least now we have a direction.
Yeah.
And we have a potential reason to walk up to those gates as opposed to just creating chaos. Like, it is so quiet here.
Are you wearing face coverings?
I would have mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have one previously.
Yeah,
I assume
just
I
have your
left
goggles.
the harvest armor in the
Yeah.
Vermisian and
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling because it was a costume, it just clattered to pieces when you came through the door in the subway tunnel in the very beginning. You got your goggles and your like patchwork clothes and a little bit of Xyrie everywhere else. The embroideries. You still have your Xyrie handkerchief.
I still have the handkerchief. Oh, that's not going anywhere.
And you, as you look down the road, like these wanted posters are plastered all over the place on doors and businesses. And then there's also a number of businesses you see with like eviction notices slapped onto it for violating laws. More stories like pedos. The 4 that were arrested, the number might be a lot higher now.
Springing that many people might be difficult. Like it might have to be a mass thing as opposed to just getting a couple people out of jail. This is bigger than I expected.
Who can we talk to?
So you're standing by the notice board talking about who can you talk to. You see coming around the corner 2 guards on their patrol.
Act casual.
They're in their winged sickle outfits with a pair of scythes in their hands. Like, again, think like the Swiss Guard with the halberds.
There's just 2 of us. It's fine.
I'm thinking there's just 2 of them. It's fine.
It's just like pointing at his broken arm. Like, are you kidding? There's 1.5 of us.
I want to try and take in as much as possible of what their uniform looks like.
Yeah. Are you spending a little time to?
Yeah, I want to investigate them, I guess.
Oh, sorry. That's a masked ability. I was thinking a masked ability. If they observe for an hour, they can like take in extra details.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Yeah, you don't have to roll to if you want to. You're just watching them. Yeah. Well, then they come to a stop and they're checking you out, checking out both of you.
I'm going to walk away.
I will slowly follow you.
Don't follow.
Hold it.
Starts hold yes.
Where's your masks?
I don't seem to have brought mine. I still have obfuscate as my knack from the last.
Mm-hmm. You know the rules. Masks in public. Not wearing a mask's a fine.
How much is the fine?
How much do you have?
Starts patting himself. I'm not actually sure I have any sten on me.
Oh, that's a real shame. We'll have to take you in to figure out where to find that rest of your sten then. You find something interesting over here? He points at you, Xyrie, who is wearing a mask.
No, sir, I'm...
Oh, carry on.
I carry on?
And you just walk away?
Yes.
You just leave? You just leave Nharus? And so the 2 guards now coming in, looking around going, funny pair of goggles you're wearing?
Oh, I don't have a mask on me.
And do you have your concealable folding crossbow on you?
No, I gave that to the gnolls.
Yeah, you did give that to... Oh, right. Redix is that. Got it. Oh, that's... You're just lucky. And they're pulling out a pad. And
he starts going, as you can see, I've just been recently injured down Spire. I wasn't actually up here, and I didn't realize that I was violating the laws. All of this is technically true.
Compel. You don't have order, so you don't get the 2 dice.
Yep. That is an 8. We've We've rolled a single 8 this whole campaign so far.
He looks at it and is like, look at him. He's a injured bird. He's got a broken wing. He's like, you know the rules. Gotta wear a mask, pays a fine. And then have him pay a fine. I just don't want to deal with the paperwork. We don't have to take him back. We just started. He kind of looks at it. It's just like, if I see you again without a mask, I'm
won't.
taking you in.
Understood.
And he just kind of shoves you into the wall.
Backwards.
Into the he shoves you into the notice board, and like it stings your arm. It's fresh. You broke it yesterday. And head straight home, he says.
Of course.
And he walks off. Where did you go, Xyrie?
I went 3 notice boards further down.
Yeah.
Looking at the eviction notice of the pet shop.
Mm-hmm.
Corner of my eye, I'm watching the situation to see if he gets taken or not. But
No, he doesn't. So where do you want to go? That's the end of that scene.
yeah, so we have to have another conversation.
We do.
Yeah.
We need to find
We need to find you help for your arm. I don't know that you.
it's a problem.
Let's find a way for you to help in this, but you can't fight. You can't defend yourself. But we need you to get healed up. If there's information that you have about the city, about what's changed, about Harvest, let's share that. So let's use your brain.
That is my strong suit.
I may know somebody who can patch you up.
That would be very appreciated. Lead the way.
So I want to go to the fashion district,
Which we're in.
Yeah.
That's where we came out.
So I want to meet up with Linnea.
So Linnea is one of your adoring fans.
Yes.
And Linnea is a tailor in the fashion district, runs a shop, and sells Xyrie, right? You make stuff on commission, you put it on the store shelf, and she's more than happy to put, like, it's good for business, right? Like that, some of that embroidered stuff, gloves, masks, like scarves, sachets, etc.
Yeah.
As you are walking up to Linnea's building, you see it is covered in graffiti with words like traitor and no lover and other slurs and slangs and death threats, windows smashed. Your wanted poster slapped all over the building.
This is not right.
Being a fan of Xyrie is going to be pretty tough right now.
You're telling me.
You didn't expect me to do that.
I didn't expect my fans to be so affected.
To be suffering.
To be suffering on. That's
The power of celebrity.
This is not why I got into this. This is not what I had expected.
You know, Linnea lives in the same building she works from, upstairs. You know, the doors closed. Doesn't like the there's broken windows and vandalism done to it, but the building doesn't, like, it hasn't been destroyed or anything like that. But it's covered in just graffiti and scrawls and wanted posters and posted notes and things like that, and they're all just like addressed to you and to your community and to your work, and they've just turned into a shrine of hate.
Well, this is unpleasant.
Well, now I have another reason to talk to the Harvest. I want to go and find out if Linnea is okay.
Yeah, you want to knock on the door?
Yeah, knock on the door.
Knock on the door. You just hear on the other side, "Go away!"
I'd rather come in.
I've had it. No more hatred today. I'm asleep. I'm going to bed. Come back tomorrow and yell at me tomorrow. We're closed.
I have a new commission.
And then you hear this like stomp, 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 click, click, slide, slide, unlock, 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 and the door comes out. Didn't you hear me? I said we're closed.
I reveal just a little bit from behind the mask.
Like, and Linnea grabs you like by the neck and just yanks you inside the room. And are you getting in on this?
Slowly walking, like while checking
door?
to see if anyone's looking.
And she slams the door. It's like, are you out of your goddamn mind? What are you doing here?
We came to...
Or out of the goddess's mind. Are you out of the goddess's mind? What are you doing here?
We're on a rescue mission, and I need your help.
You're on a rescue mission. We need to be rescuing you.
I'm fine.
What did you do?
First, let me introduce Nharus.
Pleasure.
What did he do?
We had a celebration in an arena.
It went rather well, I thought.
And we recruited some people to help us fight against the harvest.
Why are you fighting against the harvest?
Well, look at your building. That's an example of why we have to fight.
What have you gotten yourself into? You are and she's beyond words, and then just kind of. Would you like to come over for some tea?
Thank you.
And she goes up the stairs, up into her flat above the shop, and you hear just moving around in the kitchen. And as you follow up behind you, I mean, it's a modest place of living. Brings you a drink, a cup, and pours it. And when news came from Derelictus that you were being wanted, all of the things I sell, all of your commissions, they were confiscated as evidence. And she never stopped believing. She never stopped being on your side, and has just been weathering the storm. Every day, people come by and they throw something through the window, or they vandalize part of the building again, or they leave notes or death threats or hurl insults. But she knows you're innocent. Like, you couldn't have done those things. You couldn't have freed Knoll prisoners from the arena. You wouldn't do that, Xyrie. You're an artist. You're a fashionista. You're important. You wouldn't throw all of that away.
I've thrown nothing away. You're right. I am innocent. Linnea, I'm sorry that you have been treated this way. This is beyond wrong.
So how do we clear your name? Like, these lies about you, how do we prove that they're wrong, that this is slander, that this is unjust, this isn't justice?
There may be a way.
Who are you?
I'm Nharus. Excellent tea, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Another fan? Notices the handkerchief in your pocket. You're wearing it like a pocket square.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's as obvious as it is possible to make it. Yes, he blushes, like, visibly, like maybe a little bit of a fan. Yes.
Linnea, Nharus, you were saying there may be a way.
Yes, it does seem you're a little more wanted than one would expect, but there are certain parts of, the transit system where things go to disappear.
I don't know how that helps.
Wait, are you just talking about the Vermissian Way?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone knows about it. We just are all afraid to use it because we're not insane.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. The Great Grand Experiment, the humans built it, almost broke the tower. Now It drives people crazy.
So I've heard.
You can go in there and get lost and die all the time. I know where the train station is. We just don't use trains for a reason.
I wouldn't recommend it, yes.
Yeah.
There are parts where where information...
As long as you're not hanging out with any Vermissian sages, you should be fine.
Of course. Yes.
Have you been in touch with the others?
We just got into town.
Well, I haven't heard from Timok in a few days. You know, he's usually out there advertising and getting people excited for your next big work, and we were all getting excited for your next big work, and we thought you'd be Spire's most needed and not most wanted, so this isn't what we had in mind, but the street team's standing by. Antoine's still at the bar, but no one's showing up. We'll probably get you something for that arm.
That would be very appreciated.
But, like...
We certainly can't use the normal...
We're hurting right now.
We can't just throw a party and make things go better.
Why not a big comeback? Just show everyone tell everyone where you were, your alibi. You've been working on your next project. You weren't in the arena. Whoever they saw was just someone dressed like you, right?
Right.
You weren't there, were you? These are lies, right?
Just looks at you.
I met Nharus in the arena.
Oh my god. I'll be throwing off the Spire for this. This is it. This is how it goes. Mom always warned me. Don't go following rock stars. Never meet your heroes.
Linnea, I've changed
She's
my
getting
mind.
out like this is the end.
Linnea, we need to...
all my work.
Linnea, a party where there's an effigy of me would clear you. A party. Secretly, it can still be for me, but it will not be for me.
Was just like lean into it?
Yeah. We've never done this before. We can turn it around.
Can you roll compel? Because you're telling her to, like, I want you to lead the greatest, biggest effigy hate party, like Guy Fawkes Day thing. You want Linnea to turn you into Guy Fawkes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all going to wear
With the
Xyrie masks.
Yes.
We're going to burn you in, like, Wicker Man style.
Yep.
And we're just going to get the whole middle city out to just vent themselves into you, and you're compelling her, it sounds
Yes.
like, to be like, I will be the most hated in Spire, and this will be my greatest work.
And can I use deceive as well?
And you're the only one who knows. This is
Right.
this is our secret.
Okay.
It doesn't. I'm just saying, like, you,
Yes.
Linnea, and Xyrie are the only one who know, because no one else can know that, like, the hate must be real.
Yes.
For the performance to be authentic.
Right.
So I'd let you use not high society, because we're not in there. Not really occult. So it would be it would just be compel.
Yeah.
It'd just be the 2 dice.
Yep. So that was a 5, which is not a success. Now, could I...
So what that means is I will take stress to your fans, and they could lead to them
truly
making a
hating at the
mistake
end? Right.
and ruining your secrecy and people finding out where you are. Because the street team, she's like, okay, all right, but I can't do this by myself. We gotta find Timok. We gotta get Antoine together. We gotta plan. We gotta figure out where it's gonna go. A venue. We're gonna need a venue. We're gonna need some space. We're gonna need timber. We're gonna need kindling. We'll need to get masks made. But I can do this. I can dip into my savings, and I can put out another mortgage on the shop, and this is another year of durance, and we can figure this out. When do you need? When does this happen?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Fine. Yeah. Great. Okay. I was actually rolling to see if your bond suffered fallout from that, and just a bit of a twitch in the eye, but nope, actually didn't. And they're like, yeah, we can anything for you, Xyrie. And I'm fronting the bill as usual.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So Antoine is the proprietor of one of the pub names at the back of this book.
Ooh, exciting.
Roll me a d10.
1.
Parker's.
Antoine Parker.
Antoine runs Parker's. And Parker's is... Roll me a d10.
4.
A sort of mini casino. Parker... So Antoine is one of your fans, but is also a priest of Stultz.
Oh, nice.
Which is a bookie. One who worships and practices with the god of luck and chance and random happenstance. And Parker's is a bookie. It's a place where bets are done and performances are happening. And you want to have the real casinos. You go up to Silver Quarter, but even here in Middle City, you get a little extra sten that you find on the road and you throw it down on. And it's one of those like really weird like the British bookies where they bet on anything, right? They bet on how many birds fly over at a certain time of day. They bet on how many cracks it takes before one of the fighters breaks through the mask of one of the other fighters, you can invent anything else. And Antoine has made a lot of money when no one has ever bet what you were going to do next. So there's always high odds on that. And so that's one of the reasons why they become a big fan. They've made a business out of kind of being. They've got the insider trading on Banksy, right? They know where they're going to be before anyone else does, so they can set up and they can plan things out. And also where Linnea has the resources and can make the masks that everyone's going to wear and is really like a crafty fan. Antoine is the person who runs the venues and the place, and Timok is the street team. They're the runner. They're kind of like a Donald in that way. They're out in the street putting posters on the walls. Word is sent out, little pigeons are released out, and there's knocks on the door, and they come in for their regular meeting, and they see you, and they come together, and they're going over plans, like without even going over you. They're just working on things, and they're talking about stuff. And I feel like Antoine's got like big artsy glasses and like a beret and a big long pipe that he's smoking out of, and he's like, yeah, I think we've got a good plan going on here. And Timok is being the more physical member of the group, is more rolled up sleeves and kind of a little antsy of like, okay, as soon as I go. And they've got this plan where they're going to turn the wanted posters into the event posters. Nice. They're going around, they're going to start slapping. They got a stencil figured out that they're going to graffiti on to change the bounty into a date and time. And they're going to be putting things around. And then Linnea is, she can't stay in the store anyways, is going to start handing out masks fashioned after your mask, Xyrie, the mask you were wearing at the arena. And Antoine comes up though afterwards, and he's got a smoking. By the time we're done with this, everyone's gonna actually hate you. You know that.
Hate is pretty close to love. Actually, hate is more powerful. It's easier to twist. It is easier to convert.
And he almost feel like he wants to start just snapping his fingers. Yeah. He's just like, oh, brother.
I need them to hate me.
I'm going to make so much money. No one's going to bet that you're going to do this next. And Timok is like, okay, go now? Ready to go now? Ready to do this? And starts getting like, he's been going around town and pulling posters off of walls, and he's got them around. They've been like working on prototypes and figuring the design out. And then Linnea's like, all right, I've gone through the ledger and I've looked through the savings, and if I put everything I have onto this, we've got your party.
Thank you. My next piece will be dedicated to you.
It's just a tear in the eye. That's worth all the bankruptcy in the world.
Nharus also has a tear in his eye because it's not about him.
And Antoine comes over and says, like, yeah, that arm's a real bitch. He's got what looks like a brace. And he's a knight. Got into a fight in his bar the other week. Left this behind. And he straps it onto your arm, and it's painful, but it holds it in place a little bit more secure than a sling. Mm-hmm. But you're still going to keep it in a sling. And then he says, like, you know, I'm not a doctor, I want you to know, but what I can offer you is something a little more stronger than any medicine, if you know what I mean.
I'm sure I'd like to find out.
Well, okay, let me have a look at what I see. And he opens up a little bag that he's brought with him. He's like, all right, I can't do anything for the broken arm, but I can do a little bit something for the confidence here. You're afraid of getting into any fights? Tell you what, this stuff, it's a combat enhancer. You've ever had dagger before? You ever seen dagger be used before?
I've seen it used.
Yeah, it's usually not very pretty, but you find yourself in a pinch and, you know, you're with Xyrie, and that's probably going to happen. You take this, and then we'll see what you're like in the morning, but it'll probably get you through whatever you're facing.
Fantastic.
And what it will let you do is you will take this, if you take this, gives you access to fight mastery.
Wow.
But also suffers immediate mental mind stress when you're taking it. Right? So, like, it's a crazy ass fighting drug, but it means that you also can ignore the pain and the injury and act like your arm isn't broken. It totally is.
Yeah.
You just won't know it if you take it.
Cool.
And it's just only in emergencies. For now. And he pulls out some of the Malik. That's also illegal, but it's more like a depressant. And he just drops a little bit into your tea. This'll help you sleep.
Separately, Antoine, I want you to do me a favor.
And he puts a little Malik on his tongue. Whatever you want, big guy.
Linnea has been great. I want to get her a new place. Can you set her up somewhere safer?
I can roll the dice for it.
Yeah.
See, I don't decide. I let Stoltz make those decisions. But the cards are in her favors. Can't see why we can't help one another out.
Don't say I had anything to do with it. Let fortune have its hand.
And let fortune favor the broken. Antoine gives a little wink, takes a little smoke, takes another drop of Malik. He always seems to be a little bit on something. But, boy, if he doesn't get shit done. He comes over to Linnea and kind of puts his arm around her, and they start going, oh, have a conversation. So anyway, we don't have to play everything else out here. Like that crew is kind of like its own thing. And the word starts spreading around Middle City, and you roll for it, and that works. And they took some stress, but they didn't suffer fallout. And so the wanted posters get changed around. The rumors start spreading. The guards, it's like a race between Timok and the guards on the official posters, because the change is just subtle enough. They really have to investigate it. And how many guards investigate their own wanted posters, right? They just walk right past it, and people are gathering around. They think, oh, look at all these good citizens looking out for the city. That's right. If you find out where Xyrie is, you be sure to report to Harvest right away. And then they're all like, yeah. Are you going to the party too? I'm going to the party. Make sure, yeah. You got your mask ready? And they're all like ready for like bonfire night, right? And then so you return back to the vault. You let Bredix know what's going on. The next night, people start wearing the same mask. And they're ready to do a little bit of unlawful assembly, holding a party during the lockdown to hate on Xyrie, but also maybe have a little Xyrie party. They say Xyrie's gonna show up and turn himself in. They're gonna fight. They're gonna take one on to harvest. They're gonna change, and everyone, like, the rumors are getting out of control, right? Like people are saying, like, you know, they say Xyrie is actually an elf, and they're going to show up right now. They're going to reveal their true form, and their angelic beauty is going to burn out everyone's light. Or that actually Xyrie is one of the hollow reincarnated, being brought into, you know, and the others are going, like, you know, even in whisper tones, like, you know, Xyrie's a minister working for the ministry of our hidden mistress. Like, what are you talking about? That stuff's a boogeyman. Don't even say that shit. That'll put you in jail. They'll kill you if you say that. And then others are walking around, and it's like the worst kept secret in Middle City, especially among the Drow youth. And the masks go around, and they're heading into the town, and they're working their way up through, like, flash mob style, down different roads, all towards the square near the top of the screw, near the cathedral that is now the headquarters, which is kind of the town hall, which is also the custom house. It's the big place of government power, but it's also a town square where proclamations would be made, and where people would be put out on stocks and humiliated, and where you know, things like that would happen. And we see, like, Linnea bringing in the effigy. They're getting ready. So what are you doing during this, as this is now going to quickly move out of your control?
Right. Well, while the party prep was happening, I'd be looking into a best way to sneak in. Or I guess we're walking through the front door, aren't we?
We have the gnolls.
We have the gnolls.
So we can't
You have the
just
gnolls.
walk through the front door, but...
So I'd be looking for the best way.
We're not just any gnolls.
Yeah,
I can't be using Antoine's voice here. He's like, we're not just any gnolls. We're a strike team. we sneak in and sneak out. We broke into 100 Drow camps and lit things on fire in the middle of the night. We're a harassment campaign. We are. You don't need to worry about where we go. You just tell us where to be, and we'll be there.
Can you take out the lighthouse?
That's
no. We can like move around on rooftops and get into a square, but that's the top of the Eye of Sauron. I don't know how they would get there. You'd have to go through the headquarters to get there. Yeah. That's like the top of.
That's dreams, though.
That's,
I would love
yeah,
to change.
That's on the list.
If nothing else, change the color of the light.
Yeah, that's like, can you go and put a whoopee cushion right on the chair of the Oval Office and be like, no, I'm just a gnoll that's escaped from the arena yesterday. But I think more Assassin's Creed, unless
we need to go in waves, right? The party is going to be first wave.
Right.
Oh, you know what we can do? And she's like, Bredix puts a cloak on and a Xyrie mask.
Spitting image.
We just look like kids now. Trick or treat.
Perfect.
This mask thing's great. No one ever looks for you when you're under a mask.
Don't bother bringing weapons. I've got it covered.
You got it covered. Well, you know,
I'm mirroring Bredix at this point.
We don't want you getting searched on. Well, if you get searched on the way, and it would be over anyway, I suppose.
Yeah, they'd be like,
oh, also you're a gnoll.
Oh, you're a dog.
Yeah. Never mind. I was going to use my cash ability, but it doesn't really matter.
You can use the dead drop because the vault is empty.
Yeah.
If you want to, like I mentioned, like some of their weapons were lost. They were injured. They're just wearing crap that they was given to them. Only Bredix was really equipped as a professional volunteer at the arena. The rest were prisoners, so they were like whatever they had on them. Most of them were just fighting with their hands. So it's if you want to use the dead drop, you can equip them for this. You can give them cloaks and masks,
like proper
and gear. Like, it won't confer mastery, but it will equip them all for this job to your specifications. So if you want them to hide in the crowd, or if you want them to be able to move along the roof, give them climbing gear.
Yeah.
You want them to scale. If you want them to, you want to bring all the guards out to break up this party because the gnolls are being sent to blow up the lighthouse.
Yes.
the dead drop can give them the climbing gear and the equipment necessary to pull that off. I will roll to see if they succeed that mission, and they would take stress and fallout if they don't. But you're causing a big old party distraction where they're going to be like, what's the nature of this? And the Harvest sends all of his soldiers out of the headquarters, empties out the headquarters. No one's going to be looking for a group of 12 gnolls. Because this is the other curious thing that I didn't mention while you were moving around. They're all looking for Xyrie. No one's looking for the gnolls.
Yeah.
The newspapers say the gnolls were captured and have been attributed to a heroic elfer named Mary No Man, who at a club in Red Row discovered where they were hiding and valiantly fought them off and defeated them. And they presented the 12 heads of the gnolls that were killed on spikes around the arena that is being reconstructed. And Mary No Man is being hailed as a hero for coming across. It should have killed them to come across those gnolls hiding away in that club. And it's a good thing they were there when they were. And so with the gnolls captured, the city can rest easy, knowing that they are not out there going to kill you in your sleep. That the menace has been, quelled. But what they are looking for is the ringleader, Xyrie, who remains at large.
That's important information.
Yeah, we never got around. We were talking about everything else.
Boy, we can make an elf here look real bad.
We have to. If we can make Harvest look bad and an elf fair,
Oh, it's bonus.
yeah.
So I'm going to look for architectural plans in the vault for the cathedral to see if I can find the gnolls away in.
Yeah, so that lets you roll the investigative check.
Yep.
So it's investigate and order, of which you don't have.
No.
But it allows you to roll. Normally you wouldn't even be able to do this, but you do. You can find the blueprints of the cathedral, if not the actual.
Not the actual.
Because the lighthouse is, yeah, exactly. But you can get like sewer systems and blueprints of Middle City, and you can find out where like the Vermissian Way, it was going to be a custom house. Maybe there's a station down there.
We'll see. That's a 10.
And there was a station right underneath the headquarters. And it was going to connect to that station to a station up above, which is now the prison hive. And so there are two stations above and below, which means there's a passage that will connect them. And it can drop them right underneath the sewers, underneath the headquarters. Once they get out, once the guards are gone, then they have to scale this massive, like Dark Souls looking building all the way up to the top.
Oh boy.
And if they can get that and blow it up, no one, and then from there they're like, and once we do this, then we're leaving.
Oh yeah. Then
you're never going to see us again.
You don't need to be shy about it once that's done.
But with a 10, that's the plan. And Bredix is like, this is what I'm talking about. This is a plan.
And fortunately, I have the explosives.
Now
He just whips the carpet back that they've all been walking over for a day. And there's a trap door and just opens it up. And there's a whole lot of climbing gear and explosives.
Yeah, it's like, and they don't even need the climbing gear because they got claws. Yeah. And they're like, have you ever seen gnolls on a mountaintop? This is what we're built for. They're like, that's the plan. We go there, we do that, and then we get out and we leave.
Yes.
So they're suiting up. And they're getting ready, and they're going to go underneath through the way. They're going to follow the map you've given us. And it's like, no crazy fly creatures are going to be attacking us this time.
No, I'm pretty sure we closed that gate.
Pretty sure. My God.
He looks at his map really quickly. You're probably okay.
Okay, well.
While they're doing that,
Bredix is going to lead them. That's her party, and that's her group, and they're going to leave. And then she looks at you, is like, this is probably the last time we see each other.
It's been weird, but a pleasure.
And she hits your good arm. Ha! That's a good fight we had.
Thanks, Bredix. Thank you.
If you ever find yourself in Spire again, look us up.
If I ever find myself in Spire again, you kill me.
He just blinks rapidly.
Because it probably means I was brought back here, and I'm never coming back to this place again. And just kind of knocks one of your lamps over and has a shatter on the ground.
I think that was an antique.
And then they head out, and they're going to wait for the signal.
So what I want is to have a secondary have a backup plan to extend time if needed. So I don't want to show up at the party. I want the rumor that I've shown up to be at the party.
Yeah.
And basically have an unmasking game of, they're over there. Oh, they're over there. Basically having people from the street team say that I'm Xyrie, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play that guessing game. And then
because they're all wearing Xyrie masks.
Exactly. And then I want to appear up on a roof or somewhere around
Phantom of the Opera
Phantom
style.
of the Opera style. So that if nothing else, the guards have to go further away
Xyrie
to
of
find
the
me.
town
Yes.
square.
I'm going to have a nice big flag with my name with the X on it.
Dun 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 dun. And all right. You've definitely got the time to set that up. So you have created a gathering
Yes.
that gives you mastery to persuade, deceive, or distract actions when you perform inside of it.
Yes.
And life and soul of the party is normally for an instant gathering, but you've put so much work into this. And you've got all of the equipment to perform a particular task already handed out, and the gnolls have left.
Yep.
And then what are you doing?
In order to prepare.
What's your part in Xyrie's party? Where do you want to?
I need to get
Are you
him
just
to
going
that
to be in the
rooftop.
crowd?
I have to get him there.
Oh, you can get him there. You can. I mean, your street team can get you there. You can let Linnea in on it, and they can. You can move through the crowd anonymously, even because they're all looking for like, hey, yeah, you look exactly like him. That's great.
Yeah.
Great disguise. Yeah, I guess I'd just be providing security unknowingly for Xyrie. There in case everything goes horribly pear-shaped.
Can you create a back door or a
I can
quick
get you
way
out. I can get you out.
So let's plan for that.
You haven't used a back door this session,
I
so
haven't. So I can get you out if things hit the wall.
Okay.
And they probably will.
I'm hoping they do.
So the crowd's moving into the streets, and some of them bring drums, some of them bring torches, and others are just chanting, and it's both a celebration of and against Xyrie, and they're carrying with them the wanted posters, and bringing with them different like effigies of Xyrie to present to the headquarters, and start piling them into a pile to be turned into a pyre, and they all start throwing it into the center, and guards are out there going like, what's the meaning of this? No unlawful assemblies. And they're like, not unlawful, we're just bringing you more Xyrie for the bounty. And then more for the bounty, and they're like, get out of here, you miscreants. And it's like, you can't be saying you can't be unlawful if we can't even approach the headquarters. We're here to bring a bounty. And they keep throwing, and there's someone throwing Sten into the pyre as well, and one of the guards throws them in. It's like, go get some help. This is getting out of control. And slowly there's like a wall of guards that are like no entry into the headquarters. But all eyes are on the group that just keep coming into the square. It's getting busier and busier, and they're starting to now like lock their halberds, their scythes in together, and they're getting ready to disperse if they have to. And that's when from the rooftop, where you've been hiding, Anton there smoking his long, like he's got like one of those like cigarette holders. He's got that. He goes like, "You ready for the big show, big guy?" And he pulls a. Actually, he asks if he can borrow your crossbow.
It's in other people's
Yeah, it's in other people's hands. Oh yeah. Sorry. So he pulls out a little short bow, and he lights his arrow off of his cigarette. And now that it's a little on fire, he points it down into the pyre. And the whole thing just goes up. And the guards are like, and everyone else is like, yeah, and masks start being thrown up into the sky, and it turns into just like a rave. Right at that point, it's just like it's a protest, and it's a party, and it's all of that kind of all rolled into one. And the guards now, they're starting to like bang their scythes into shields to try and get the crowd under control. And from your roof, you see from the headquarters now another flanking of guards coming out, and this time a heavily armored. This isn't cosplay. This is the Harvest now coming out of the headquarters, marching his way down towards the main gates, pulling a sword from a scabbard. Sword, he's using a scythe, but pulling a big scythe off of the back and bringing it out and brandishing it and marching in towards as the guards start to make way, and then calling more to form ranks as they get to the gates. And then when he arrives, you can interrupt me at any point. Things just continue to escalate, but their eyes are on. Give me, because we're trying to use this as a distraction against the gnolls that are climbing. You represent this party, Xyrie.
Right.
So by all means, roll deceive and... Well, this is kind of not high society, it's more low society, and it's against order. But you roll with mastery. So you'll roll 3 dice.
I have a 9.
So their eyes are entirely on this party. And from your vantage point looking down, you can see scaling the cathedral citadel tower up towards the lighthouse with climbing hooks and climbing claws. 12 little dots making their way up in the darkness. Underneath the shadow, the torchlight of the lighthouse is so bright, it actually creates a blind spot immediately underneath, which now lists in shadow, even darker shadow. You look directly at it, you end up looking at the lighthouse. So it's harder to see, but you know what to look for, and you see them climbing like bugs.
As soon as they look like they get close enough to be under that bottom ledge, that's when I'm going to present myself.
Well, that's good, because the guards are about to turn on the crowd.
So I have Antoine shine a torchbearer, shine light at me. We've set that up so that I have a bit of a spotlight, and you can
little mirrors.
You can see that I am in the outline, or you can see that I'm in what looks like a guard's uniform, but it's all been gyried. It is so, and I have the what looks like a sickle, but then I flick it and it turns into a sword, turns into swords, and then I put them up into a giant axe.
So you're just standing in this pose with the swords above you in this like backlight, casting this big, almost like a bat signal out over the town square, which makes eye contact down to where the Harvest is walking out of the gate. And the Harvest gets to the gate, and he's ordering the guards, and they're getting ready to bring their spears down and move into the crowd to disperse them, when he looks up, and it's too far away to hear what he's saying, but he points up towards you. And when he does that, the rest of the crowd start to look, and they see up, and they see, and some just, it's a rock show. It's the Beatles. It's everyone just starts and more, and now torches are coming out, and one of the people closest to the guards grabs a spear from the guard and starts wrestling with them, and then they start pushing back and scuffling, and then as the crowd starts to crush in, it starts to turn into chaos there at the gate.
That's when I get my swords to be lit on fire.
Okay. And it just incenses them. Now, are you trying to compel the crowd into frenzy?
Yes.
Do you want them to attack the guards? Because you could use your compel, a master, right now, because you're at the party, to just...
Oh, absolutely.
Fill them with blood rage.
Yes.
Could be a riot, right?
Yes.
Fury is one of the virtues of Drow society, and a night of fury is just what Middle City was asking for.
Yeah. So I absolutely want them to turn the guards down.
Yeah. So roll compel.
Yep.
So 2 dice plus mastery, 3 dice.
6.
That's not as good. A 6 is a success at a cost.
That makes sense.
Roll me a d6, a full d6. This is high. This isn't a d3.
1.
A 1?
Yeah.
Against your reputation, I was going to say the rest of mine, because this is going to affect how people think about you. But you have a resistance of 2 on your reputation, so you withstand this. The crowd goes into a complete rage. When you bring this out, it is a call to action, it is a call to arms, it is a call to attack, and they grab whatever they have. They start throwing rocks, they start throwing the burning effigies from the bounty pyre into the guards. The guards there were a lot of them, but the population of Middle City outnumbers the headquarters, and they are outnumbered, and they are being overwhelmed, and they are being pushed and thrown into... People are being hurt and being killed, and the guards are fighting back with lethal force, and you hear... well, you can see Harvest ordering that, but as he makes orders, he retreats and falls back, and he gets his own guard to form ranks between the gate guard and him as he makes his way in, and you see like a sign to close the gates, and the gates start to swing in, like these big heavy fortification gates, which would have been to the cathedral, have been reinforced, start being moved in on like chains as they start closed, as guards that are pushing against the crowd are trying to get in to the headquarters, but the gates close and they are left on the wrong side of the wall, and there's like 5 of them and dozens of your fans. As you stand there, do you change your pose? Do you just watch? Like the Phantom?
I'm staying there until the flames on my swords go out.
And they tear the guards apart. They're all anonymous. They're all wearing your mask. They don't have to worry about repercussions. No one will ever know it was them. And that's where we're going to end. This message has been delivered loud and clear. And the gnolls, at that moment, just as the last guards go down, reach their target and light on fire. They because it's already a lighthouse, it's already lit, but they set charges and explosives, stuff stolen from the retro engineers that built the Vermissian way, that blasted those walls apart. When the lighthouse explodes and sends rubble and destruction and fire down onto the ground below it, the crowds scream and yell and cheer, but then use that as a moment to disperse and flee and run off, as the height of this, as parts of the hive prison break away too, collapse down, and they don't just land on the headquarters, right? Like, they're falling down onto the screw top of Middle City, and they're taking out buildings and landing in streets, and people are running off as bits of rock land into... Remember when the cathedral in Game of Thrones went off and the big bell went flying through and landed in the streets? Something like that, right? Like, there's bits of the lighthouse glass and thing as it's destroyed. And when that goes, Middle City is bathed in bright fire light and then plunged into darkness as the smoke and the fires die down, and all that's left is the sounds of screams and rubble and smoke and flame.
That's
like a temporary.
And Antoine smoking on his cigar up on the roof going, they're never going to forget about this.
How much money did we make?
I'll get to you in the morning, but well, I think I just won a lot of bets.
Good.
And that's definitely where this ends.
Yep.
Both of you are going to take a major major advancement, this is more than a moderate change to Spire. You just blew up the headquarters.
A little bit.
You just sent the whole population of Middle City into a riot against the city guard. Like, the fallout from this will be immense.
Oh, yeah.
You have made things much more difficult for everyone. With that playing out the way it is, I can't justify it as just a moderate change. A moderate change would have been like you get someone working for you. What you can take is a major advancement in your class or a moderate advancement in any other class. That's what's available to you.
Thank you.
Or if you were really looking at one of those moderate advances, you could take a moderate or a minor advance from another class. Right? Like you can play around with the currency a bit. Because the two of you have changed Middle City, it will never be the same. Then when the morning light comes into those holes in the walls and looks down on the wreckage below, the Harvest will have to make his next move.
It's not going to be pretty.
And woe to whichever player is playing in the next episode, because it's not the two of you. So I'll be sure to let them know what you've done.
Everybody will know what we've done.
Middle City will never be the same again. Remember, there are other districts. When you're done here, maybe it's time to follow Antoine's lead and head up into the Silver Quarter and stay in some casinos for a while.
I know a shortcut.
No.
Until that time, I am horrified, and your game master, Justin Ecock, I really liked this. The first of our two-parter was very much a Sage episode, and our second of our two-parter was very much our Idol episode. So, to our Burning Idol.
Velvet.
And to our Sage of the Shadows.
Sean.
Until we meet again here at the Spire, Terrible Warriors, be good to each other. Bye.
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 And that concludes our Spire campaign and our 7th season of the Terrible Warriors. I know it's not what we expected, and it took longer than I would have preferred to deliver this to you, but this year has thrown a lot of our best-laid plans up in the air. So what's next? Starting in December, the Terrible Warriors launch into their new season. But we can't keep going as we've done, that much is clear. In the next season, we'll be putting aside our actual play content and refraining from recording our games and editing them for you to listen to. Instead, we're going to try some new formats, some new ways of presenting tabletop role-playing games. If you've been following my posts on Patreon or logged into our Discord channel, you already know all this, and I invite you to follow our Patreon page and join our Discord server to stay up to date on all the plans surrounding the show. Links to both can be found in the show notes of this episode and on our website at terriblewarriors.com. I have some great ideas swimming in my head. I'm excited to experiment and try them out with you. Terrible Warriors have always been an ongoing experiment, and we've changed things up before, and we can change things up again. I don't know exactly what form the new show will take, but I do know that for now the production will be lighter, the workload will be kinder. We'll likely become a more discussion-oriented podcast for a while, and one day in the not-so-distant future, when we can invite friends over again, we'll begin to record our games around the table to return to our roots. For everyone who has hung around on our Discord server or remained subscribed on our Patreon page, thank you. You've shown you believe in what we're doing. I'm going to try my best to create new content for you and repay that kindness. We'll meet again soon, you and I. I'm currently recording new episodes, posting weekly updates on our production at patreon.com/terriblewarriors, and I'm confident that the device you're listening to us on now will light up again in December to inform you that we've got something new for you. So until that day, be kind, be safe, be good to each other.